Welcome back to LATTC Summer 2014 real-time videos with Professor Jose Negrete. We're going to continue digging into 3D Studio, and we're going to look at how to morph a form for doing our project, The Animal in You, to build our creative juices, to know who we are, and how do we surround ourselves with our classmates, the profession, and so on. And then he's also going to show you how to animate it. So some simple commands that allow you to do something pretty interesting with this software. Okay, thank you, Jose.
All right, so this time I'm going to load the file I created previously to show as an example. Which was just this mask. So here we're going to cover how to do a morph and animate it. So here you could see I have this set up previously. So if we hit play, it slowly animates from one version to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these keyframes and remove these modifiers and do it over. The most important thing before trying to use the morpher modifier is that both objects must have an equal number of vertices. So they must have the same number of vertices. If you notice here, in this viewport I have set up the statistics, which you can get by pressing 7 on the keyboard. Or you can also go to click on your viewport shading label and click configure. And here under viewport configuration there's a statistics tab. So here we want to select, I had it set to selection, so you could do, actually you could leave it to selection, so that way you'll get a vertex count just for the object that you've selected. So here I'm going to hit OK again. And again here, if you notice, I have nothing selected and it currently says 0 vertices on the top left corner. Then if I select the left model, now it says 242 verts. And if I select the one on the right, it's the exact same count. 242. So again, that's the most important thing before using the morpher modifier. And the way I did this example was modeled the left model first, which is supposed to be a face, and then I copied that and modified it to do the animal, which I just made some ears for and modified the eyes. And so the way you copy your model is to either right-click, select your model and right-click, and select clone, and make sure that it's copy type, and hit OK. And so it looks like nothing happened, right? But if you move the object over, you'll notice we have 2 of them. Okay. The other way to do this is to select your object and make sure the move tool is active, and hold the shift key on your keyboard, and then move the object, and that'll create a copy as well. So once you release your mouse, you get the same clone options window, which you want to make sure to select copy type. Alright, so that's how you would make your copy. And then what I did here on the copy was go and modify it. So here I selected a few vertices. So obviously this is just done quickly for this example, but in your case you would need to spend a little more time to try to shape it to whatever your animal type is. Right, so that's how I got the 2 models that we're using for the morpher. So next I'm going to select the face on the left and go to the modify tab, and then click on the modifier list. And in the list we're going to look for the morpher modifier. So once in the morpher, here we have a channel list, and obviously all channels are empty at the moment. So the first one is active. If we scroll further down, we have the channel parameters. So here we're going to click on the button that says Pick Object from Scene. And you'll notice that that button is now highlighted. So if we move our cursor over to the second head, you'll see the cursor changes. So then we can click on that. And you'll notice now here the channel says plane 005, which happens to be the name of the second mask here. And if we scroll up to the channel list, now we have the plane 005 object loaded into the first slot. And we can change this percentage spinner here, and the first object will morph into the second one. Alright, so now we can animate this. So in order to animate it, we're going to make sure that the spinner is back to 0. So if you want to quickly do that, you can right click on the little arrows and it'll make it 0. Then we're gonna scrub all the way to the end of our active time segment and turn auto key on, and then change the spinner to 100%. And you'll notice we have these tiny red brackets around the spinner that means that that's now keyframed, it's animated. So we can turn off the auto key button now, and you'll notice the tiny red brackets remain up here. So that just, again, it's just telling you that that value has been animated. And then if we look at the bottom here, you'll notice that we have 2 keyframes. And now if we hit play, the object is animating from one state to the other. And the other thing I'm going to do here is just add a turbo smooth modifier and add a couple iterations to make it look smoother. So here we'll hit play again. And it goes from one to the other. And you'll notice here my active time is actually set to 300 frames. By default, yours will be set to 100. So if you wanted to change the length of your animation, you can go to time configuration down at the bottom right and click on that. And if you've already animated, you want to use the rescale time. So this will rescale any keyframes that you already have. So here, if I go back to 100, change the end time back to 100 and hit OK. And hit OK, so you'll notice now my active time is back to 100 frames. And for animation, 1 second of animation is 30 frames. So at the moment, this is 3.3 seconds of animation. And I had it set to 300 to make that 10 seconds. So if we go back to time config and then back to rescale time, I'm going to change this back to 300 frames and hit OK. And again, this is now 10 seconds.